Today I woke up and I said, I want to make a lo-fi beat. At the first thought of it, it doesn't seem like an overwhelming task, right? That is until I tell you my particular problem. I'm heavy-handed. I eat loudly, I laugh loudly, I listen to music loudly, and most of all, as a music producer myself, I make music rather loudly. Lo-fi is kind of like the complete opposite of this loud lifestyle that I live. So I'm guessing this is probably the part where you're gonna ask, well, why would you want to make a lo-fi beat? Simply put, I just love how relaxing it is. You see, I deal with anxiety often, and I started listening to lo-fi playlists to kind of help my anxiety out starting last year. There have been two producers that have dominated my anti-anxiety playlists. That is J Dilla and Flying Lotus. Their particular Pandora stations have introduced me to so much beautiful and therapeutic boom bap instrumentalists, some of which are known as lo-fi producers. But I guess my biggest question has always been, as a, older head, or as a boomer, as the kids might call it, what's the difference between chill boom bap hip hop and its offspring in lo-fi? To get the answer to my question, I needed to gain a professional lo-fi producer's opinion. Who did I call in? The homie l.dre. If you don't know, the homie l.dre has been killing it on the lo-fi scene for quite some time. His soothing lo-fi beats and flips have been streamed millions of times, used on millions of TikToks, and heard clear across the world. So who better to teach Curtis King how to make lo-fi than l.dre? Okay, so I said I was gonna hire an expert. Well, I didn't necessarily hire, but I did inquire for an expert, and I had to call the homie l.dre. l.dre, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, man.
In your opinion, what would you say is the biggest difference between lo-fi and, like I just described, like smooth hip hop and boom bap?
I say it's actually not too much of a difference. I mean, because people do say like Jay Dilla is like the father of lo-fi. People say that. Some people disagree with it. But for the most part, it is that boom bap kind of feel. It's not trap. I guess it's the sounds you use. You know, it's lots of Foley and like the snares. I know in like typical hip hop boom bap, the drums got to hit hard. You know what I'm saying? For this, it's kind of more, you know, you take a step back, use maybe some softer drums, maybe use like a freaking water bottle as the snare, something like that.
You and I have a difference in age. Like, what do you think it is about your generation of music listeners that make lo-fi so appealing?
I mean, the world is just crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's depressed. Everybody has anxiety. All that kind of stuff is at an all-time high. Plus, a lot of people work from home now. Chill, lo-fi, hip-hop, jazz hop, whatever you want to call it. Like, chill instrumentals is just a vibe for anything. You're studying, you're doing homework. You don't want to do your homework and then, you know, Young Thug is yelling some kind of language in your ear. Like,
yeah.
You know, you want to put the music on, if it's background music, whatever it may be. Like, it's the perfect music for doing everything.
For your friend Curtis King, who's a loud, trap, cinematic, whatever you want to call it, hip hop producer, what would be your advice to someone like myself who would like to make vibes like that?
First things first, like, all right, you know, don't be afraid to just have like 4 tracks. Because I feel like I haven't really seen too many of your sessions, but I'm pretty sure your sessions are probably stacked. You got those, you know, layer after layer after layer. With lo-fi, it's like taking it back. Like, I like to start with like hi-hats or like percussion loops, kick, snare, chords, maybe one more melody on top of that, some rain noises, some vinyl crackle, something like that. And for the most part, that'll be the whole beat, like 5 tracks or something like that.
I've never really had an opportunity to work with somebody who is as established in this genre like this. Could you show your friend like on screen? If I pull up FL, could you help me get through this process just so I can understand from my perspective?
I got you. Let's do it.
As you're kind of putting this together, what are the first steps that you're looking at?
So usually I would grab like a hi-hat loop or a percussion loop. As you can see, all my loops are between 75 and like 85.
Right. Okay, we got an 80 right here. Let's go ahead and just drag that on in there. Okay, we got the 80. So I'm gonna let that play out. And can you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay.
it already has the groove. So at that point, I'll probably just start coming up with the kick and the snare.
I feel like you're just teaching me how to make a beat at this point now. So when you're looking for the kick, are you just looking for something that just...
I'm going to be honest with you that I made this whole drum kit just so I can have drums for myself, basically. So that fave lo-fi kick, I use that kick almost like 99% of my beats.
My initial instinct is to go in here and to bump the volume all the way up. And see, I'm stopping myself. This is not about me right now. So
a pro tip for any snares when you're doing lo-fi, if you want to use a regular snare, the number one tip for lo-fi is just taking out a bunch of the high end off the snare. That'll instantly give you a lo-fi snare.
What's interesting is that as I'm listening to it, it is obviously taking off a bit of the harshness, which makes it easier to listen to.
The kick is where you can get creative. Like you can do it simple, you can do it a little, just not too much, but you always want to have like a, like a little double, one slower than the other. So I like to have them kind of spaced out. So it'll be like a doom, do-doom. And then for a minute, you won't even have one. Do-doom, doom, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Something like that. And honestly, that's it right there, really.
Really? l.dre Drum Kit, Volume 2. Available now. I got that going. I got my drum loop going. So keys, Rhodes, piano.
Here's the other thing too. I like to do Rhodes, but a lot of times I'm using like samples, loops, all that kind of stuff too. At this point,
I'm just making a beat at that point.
Yeah, after you get the drums, as long as you're just doing some chill stuff, like you're solid. You can use literally whatever you want. It's not really, you can do Rhodes. I just prefer Rhodes. I start with Rhodes and then I switch out other stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what, l.dre, as the expert, I mean, you came in here, you put your lab coat on, you helped your friend get past the most difficult part of this, which is, for me, ironically, the drums.
I think you got it. You got to send it to me when you're finished too, so I can give you give you a grade on it. You know what I'm saying?
I need to stamp. Teach. I need to stamp. I got to say thank you, man, for taking the time to show me something that you are killing it at. How can people find your music? And is there anything that you want to put on their radar right now?
l.dre, l.dre on all streaming platforms. You can just Google it. It's probably the easiest way. And right now I'm just cooking. I just started going live on Twitch. So I guess that's my only real plug right now is I'm on Twitch now, l.dre TV.
Thank you, man, for your time. Yeah, it's time for me to cook up a beat, y'all. Okay, so with all of those golden nuggets that the homie l.dre gave to me, I had a task at hand and I had a mission to make sure that I was gonna make my first lo-fi beat. Now, l.dre says something really important that's helping me guide what kind of chords I'm gonna play. He said that a lot of the chords that he samples, or a lot of the keys that he samples, are from like jazz records. So I thought, why don't I open up Scalar? Why don't I MIDI it out into one of my favorite Contact pianos and then just play out the chord progressions from this jazz preset on Scalar 2. After I laid those keys, I wanted to find a vocal sample to really just bring out like an R&B vibe out of it, but then also make sure it wasn't something that was begging for attention.
But you wanna know, you're unusual.
After messing around with that vocal and messing around with the piano, I felt like it was necessary to open up my plugin Tape Boy because I wanted to get some of those ambient sound effects. If you've never heard of Tape Boy, go to tapeboyplugin.com to get more information. I gave it some crackles in the background. I messed around with the warmness, anything that was going to give me that vibe that I've been hearing on things like these Chill Cow playlists. And with all that said, here's the final product. Thank you to the homie l.dre for teaching me how to make my first lo-fi beat. Okay, music producers, once again, shout out to the homie l.dre for giving me the step-by-step instructions on how to make my first lo-fi beat. I'm really enjoying this. I think we're gonna keep this series going. I wanna see the things that my friends, my multi-talented friends can teach me, because yes, I don't care how long I've been doing this, I still have so many things to learn. And if you guys like this, make sure that you like, subscribe, share it, and hopefully this helped you if you are looking to go on your own lo-fi journey. Like I always say in this life, you will not be full of life until you decide to live life to its fullest. Once again, it's Curtis King of Curtis King TV. Have a good one.
Look up, Nazi. Say cheese.